Hey babies, welcome back to another deck tech in Modern League. This week we're playing a really fun one, Merfolk. The deck list we're playing with is on screen now and in the description below. It's pretty much a stock Merfolk list, but I'm playing a couple more Spreading Seas effects than most current lists are. So let's get into the deck tech. Starting off, we have the Merfolk Lords that the entire archetype is built around, 4 copies of Lord of Atlantis, and 4 copies of Master of the Pearl Trident. For the most part, they're the same card, but Master's a little bit better, just in case we're playing a Merfolk mirror or something. And they all have the effect of giving all of our other Merfolk +1/+1 and Island Walk. We have 4 copies of Tideshaper, which can turn one of our opponent's lands into an island. We have 4 copies of Merfolk Trickster, which has Flash, and when it enters the battlefield we can tap a creature our opponent controls and make it lose all its abilities until end of turn. So we can make some tricky tempo and defensive plays with it. And we have 4 copies of Silvergill Adept, which lets us draw a card when it enters the battlefield. In our 3-drop slot, we have 3 copies of Sphaloon of Sea and Sky, which has Indestructible as long as we control at least 2 other Merfolk, lets us draw an extra card whenever it attacks, and gives all of our other Merfolk some protection with Ward 1. And we have 2 copies of Glasspool Mimic, which is a nice MDFC to have just in case we need to play it as a land, and can also copy other Merfolk that are useful, usually our lords. For non-creature spells, we're playing 4 copies of Aether Vial, which let us power out creatures faster than we normally could, and 4 copies of Spreading Seas, which is another way to give our opponents an island, both mana screwing them and drawing us a card. And it's particularly good against Urza's Saga because we can blow up their Urza's Saga and draw a card for only 2 mana. Then we have 4 copies of Force of Negation and 3 copies of Subtlety. All of these let us keep our shields up against our opponent while progressing our board state, and it's really easy to make up for the lost card advantage because of cards like Sphaloon and Silvergill Adept drawing us additional cards. Subtlety is technically a creature and not just a non-creature spell, but more often than not it just feels like another force. In our mana base, we have 4 copies of Mutavault, which turns into a 2/2, which happens to be a Merfolk and gets the buffs from our lords. We have 2 copies of Waterlogged Grove, which we can sack to draw a card in case we're flooding. And we have 1 copy of Cavern of Souls, which we can use to stop our opponent from countering our creatures. We have 1 copy of Minimo and 1 copy of Otawara, since they're basically free rolls, and then 10 basic islands to round out the mana base. In our sideboard, we have 4 copies of Chalice of the Void for Cascade decks and decks that are really low to the ground and full of 1-drops. We have 3 copies of Relic of Progenitus for graveyard decks. We have 4 copies of Actual Counterspell, mostly for control and combo decks. We have 2 copies of Hurkyl's Recall for artifact decks. And we have 2 copies of Thieving Skydiver, which is also for artifact decks, but is really good in particular against Hammertime. And that's the deck list. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if there's something that you want to see in the future, let me know. There's a decent chance I'll make it. And let's get into the games. Alright, round 1 of Merfolk in Modern. This hand seems pretty sweet. Let's keep it. Shout out to my viewer who recommended I play Merfolk again. I've been having a lot of fun with it. And if you have any recommendations of decks or just general archetypes you'd like to see me play, I'd be happy to hear about it in the comments. There's a decent chance I'll do it. Let's play Aether Vial. We have a lot of draw in our hand, so there's a decent chance we can find more interaction pretty quickly. Looks like our opponent's thinking about forcing this. Either that or they're AFK, or doing something else. Okay. Vial resolves. I would really like for it to stick around. In the world of Prismatic Ending, there's a decent chance it goes away pretty quickly. Spirebluff Canal. Okay, we're against Murktide, it looks like. Probably not GDS since they didn't fetch Shock on turn 1. Vial's going to take up. We draw an island. I think I just want to go ahead and Spreading Seas here. See if I can cut them off of red. We draw another Sphaloon, which is interesting. Let's see what our opponent's got. They play an island, so they are off of red for now at least, which is great for us. They do not attack because Vial. Let's take Vial up. Yep. We draw Tideshaper. I'd like to keep that in hand, I think, for whenever they play red source. Let's play Silvergill, and let's reveal Sphaloon. Because in case they kill this Silvergill, I don't want them to know that we have another one coming down for sure. We draw another Vial. Okay. Let's go ahead and play that. Opponent counters, looks like. I'm more than fine with that. I didn't really need that vial. Opponent's going to get to surveil out of it, though. Alright, so it looks like we're going to be ticking up this vial to 3, so we can make sure we get his Pheloon down. They could disrupt our vial by playing Archmage's Charm, possibly. Let's put Adept into play. Alright. We draw a land. Yeah, let's go up to 3. Usually 2 is better, but we don't have any 2-drops in our hand currently, so there's not much of a reason. Go to combat. Attack with the team. Opponent considers. Okay. Looks like they're going to try to get Delirium down so they can get a free block in. They ditch a Murktide Regent. So that's 3 types. They need a sorcery or an artifact. If they crack Flooded Strand during their turn, alright, they don't have Delirium. If they crack Flooded Strand during our turn, we can Tide Shaper the Steam Vents, I assume it's going to be. And if not, yeah, we'll just let it go. Pass the turn. Opponent cracks. Okay. They're going to have red mana for at least this turn. We're going to put Pheloon into play, and we're going to crack Waterlogged Grove. Is the plan for this turn, it looks like. Opponent plays Otawara. Okie dokie. Looks like they're going to play Murktide Regent. Yep. How big is it? It's a 5/5. Okay. Opponent does not suicide into his Pheloon. I should have cracked Waterlogged Grove first, I think, but it probably doesn't matter. There's a decent chance they have more counter spells. I would really like to draw a way of gaining Island Walk soonish. Not going to tick up Vial. We barely have any 4-drops to Vial in. And we can just cast those at this point anyway. We draw Lord of Atlantis. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. Let's play Mutavault. Let's cast Tide Shaper with Kicker. We're going to plan on hitting their Steam Vents with it, but there's a decent chance they're going to use their counterspell here. And if they do, we can get Lord of Atlantis down. Alright. Okay, they go for an Unholy Heat. They're going to pay 1 extra because of Ward, which is pretty much the same thing as using a counterspell. So now we can get Lord of Atlantis down. I don't think that they would have Subtlety for any reason, so they shouldn't be able to deal with it. And now we can hit them for 10 and draw a card. What do we get? Alright. If we got a Glass Pole Mimic there, we would have been able to hit them for 3 extra by copying Lord of Atlantis. Opponent goes down to 5. That should be pretty much it between Ward and all this power in play. probably Expressive Iteration into nothing. Murktide opponents really like to go Desperation, Expressive Iteration, even if they don't have anything they could possibly get. And then scoop. Yeah, they only have 1 red mana, so I don't think they would be able to effectively deal with everything. They bolt Lord of Atlantis, they pay 1 extra. Okay. File stays on 3. There's a Master of the Pearl Trident. So they could have a counter spell, which would be annoying. I guess I gotta make them have the counter spell. I could possibly go... Okay, so let's see, what's the scenario here? I animate Mutavault, I attack with everything, I'm hitting them for at least 4. I'm probably gonna win either way. But I think I'd rather go... Yeah, let's just go for Master of the Pearl Trident and see if I can get it this turn. I was wondering if I should play out Silvergill Adept first, because if they countered it for some reason, which they probably wouldn't, I'd be able to play Master without them countering anything. But now they still want to counterspell this, and I still have them dead in a turn, so okay. Excellent. What do we change? I think Chalices are probably good enough against them. It feels goofy to bring in Chalices and Relics, but I like Relics against them when I'm playing Affinity quite a lot, and I feel like the matchup is, for the most part, pretty similar. Subtlety seems pretty good, because subtletying on Murktide seems very powerful, but I don't know if we want that many of them. Actually, they probably bring in Fury against us, I assume. I sort of doubt that we're going to be able to do the red mana denial thing again, so I think I'm going to cut Spreading Seas. Like, I think it was pretty much a fluke that we were able to pull that off there. Now, they probably bring in Fury, so I can probably cut down on Silvergill Adept. Merfolk Trickster can be okay sometimes. Yeah, let's do it like that. I think Sphaloon is... Yeah, Sphaloon is really strong against them because it slows down their removal, it essentially stops them from actually playing Fury and killing a bunch of things, and it also threatens to win us the game by letting us draw a bunch of cards. Alright, so this hand's kind of awkward actually, because we have a Chalice that we want to have on 1, and then we have 2 1-drops. I think I'll still keep it. Just because overall this hand's pretty powerful. I think I want to go Vial on 1, most likely. We draw Mutavault, which they know about. Yeah, let's go with Ether Vial. Probably playing Relic next turn instead of Chalice on 1. They played a Fiery Islet as their first land, which is interesting. Usually they won't sequence those first since they cost life each time they're activated. Engineered Explosives on 1. Okay. Well, that makes... Oh! They're stuck on lands. Did they mulligan? They kept 7, but they kept a 1-lander with a Fiery Islet as the land. That's kind of bizarre. Alright, well, if they have a 1-lander... That makes me significantly... We drew Subtlety, that's pretty good. I'm a lot more confident in the Chalice on 1 plan now. Because they probably have a lot of 1-drops in their hand, hence the 1-lander. Why can't Ether Vial Violin artifacts? It's a damn shame. It'd be much better if you could do that. Opponent passes. Vial ticks up. Yes. We draw a relic. They have ways to get rid of the chalice, so it's not really the end of the world that we're drawing some relics. Let's play Silvergill Adept. Revealing Master. Oh, do they have a counterspell? Oh, that's a shame. Alright. I kind of wish I vialed that in now instead, because I'd like to have the extra card in hand, but it's fine. Opponent finds a land. They can blow up our vial. But not before we get a Master of the Pearl Trident out of it at the very least. They play explosives on 0. Okay. If they pop the explosives on 0, that destroys their explosives on 1, actually. So I'd be fine with that. They're going to get rid of our chalice either this turn or next. I don't see why they would sequence it to where they blow up their own engineered explosives. Yeah, they do the 1-on-1. Let's put Master into play. Hopefully we draw a land so we can keep Subtlety up. It's not the end of the world if we just hit them with Mutavault here, though. And then we're going to free up our relics next turn. Okay, we drew Sphaloon. That's pretty good. Happy to have it. I wish one of these was a blue card so I could keep up Subtlety, but I don't think they're going to have Murktide available next turn anyway, so it's fine. And if they Fury just to kill Sphaloon, that's not really the end of the world either. Ah, oh, damn it. I didn't attack. I clicked through it. Alright, well, if our opponent's ever at 2, that'll just be my fault. Alright, opponent passes. We draw a Glasspull Mimic. Let's animate Mutavault. Go to combat. Attack for a bunch. Opponent pops EE, gets our chalice. Hopefully we draw an island here. We don't draw an island. Okay, opponent has 4 cards in the graveyard, which means they could play Murktide next turn. So let's go Relic, U, and I think I'd rather play Glasspull Mimic as a land here, so I can keep more mana up, because I'd like to hardcast Subtlety in response to a Murktide Regent. Even though copying Master would be good. If I had more creatures in play, I think copying Master would be the line. Alright, we got it. Sweet. That game 2 was pretty one-sided since they kept a one-lander and we had a lot of disruption, but overall that was a pretty fun match, and I'll see you in the next one. Alright, round 2 with Merfolk. This hand looks pretty good. I'd rather have probably another land than this file, but it'll do. We're playing against a deck with Kahira. So that could be a couple things. It's probably elementals, though. Might be blue-white control. In which case, there's a decent chance that we're happy about the second vial. If they counter it or prismatic ending it. Play vial, pass the turn. We don't have any stack interaction, but we have 2 Spreading Seas effects, so we can interact the shit out of our opponent's mana base. Looks like elementals since they have 4 colors. Prismatic End? Yep. So do I play Vial or Spreading Seas here? Vial's better if we do it earlier, but Spreading Seas is also better if we do it earlier. Our opponent stops in our upkeep for apparently no reason. I'm kind of leaning towards Spreading Seas because I'd like to draw more cards. Let's see. We drew Mutavault. Yeah, let's go Mutavault, Spreading Seas, your Rogren Triome. Subtlety is a pretty good pickup. Subtlety is actually really good against the other MH2 elementals. Opponent misses a land drop. That's fantastic. If we can Tideshaper their other land, they have only blue mana. They might have actual counterspell, I guess. But if we can get them mana screwed enough, it doesn't matter. Alright, what you got, opponent? Just inexplicable stop on our upkeep. Another Spreading Seas, that's pretty good. It's a bit easier for them to deal with Tideshaper, so I think I'm leaning towards playing Spreading Seas. And that way we get to draw a card here. Alright. We draw an island, we play an Ether Vial, we pass the turn. If they get a dual land again, we can Tideshaper it. If not, I'm not going to worry about that card for a while. The opponent continues to be stuck on lands. We tick up Vial. Probably going to put Svelun into play this turn. Although they could Subtlety it pretty easily. We draw Glasspool Mimic. Yeah, let's just go for Svelun. If they Subtlety it, it's not the end of the world. We still have pretty good board and tempo control. They play an Odawara hilariously. So they just have a bunch of blue sources. Playing essentially mono blue pawns is so freaking funny. Alright, opponent concedes. Alright, so we don't really know still. It still based on their mana base, it looks like they're playing I mean, I guess it could actually still be either. I guess Counterspell's fine no matter what it is. Some amount of Counterspell. I don't know if 4 is correct. The issue is that I think all the cards we saw are played by both Blue-White Control and by Elementals. Because Blue-White Control sometimes plays Kahira just because it's a free roll and it buffs up like Solitudes. And I think they play some amount of off-color lands just because of Prismatic Ending. Spreading Seas was very good there, so I'm going to keep all the Spreading Seas and Tideshapers just in case they are actually playing the 4-color deck. And I think I want to go like down a Subtlety, down some Merfolk Tricksters, but not all of them. Let's go down 3. Merfolk Trickster isn't great against Elementals because most of their important abilities are ETBs. And it's pretty bad against Blue-White Control for the same reason, since they don't have that many creatures that don't just have ETBs. So let's do it like that. I think that's fine. It might turn out that I want to cut the Trickster for another Subtlety or something, but we'll see. This hand has practically no action. It has a redraw, I guess, but we don't have any interaction at all. I think we got to mulligan that. Huh. Alright, well this might be a little too stuff to do heavy since we only have one land, but I think it's pretty keepable otherwise. So let's get rid of Merfolk Trickster since I'm kind of lukewarm on it. It'll be a while before we can play Counterspell, I think, unless we draw blue source right in a row. But land Ether Vial's not that bad, and we have plenty of interaction otherwise. Alright, we'd like to draw another land pretty soon, please. Mostly Mostly so we can cast our spells, because especially with what we saw last game, I don't think this file is going to stick around. Hall of the Storm Giants makes me think that this is blue-white control. Opponent plays Otawara. Okay. Opponent plays Spreading Seas. I'm actually happy about that. That gets us closer to having Counterspell online. If this file sticks around, like, of course we want to have Cavern of Souls on against control decks, but we do want another blue source in this hand. We draw? Damn it. Bunch of Sphaloons. If we can start playing them and they start getting answered, that's actually okay. But we don't like that we stumbled on mana there, since it costs us both tempo and possibly card advantage over the course of the game. That's obnoxious. Let's put Tideshaper into play, just so we have something to start hitting them with. We really need to draw land, otherwise we're pretty screwed. Because now we can't even, like, keep ticking up file in these Sphaloons. Island. Okay. Hit you for 2. I think we just pass and leave up Counterspell, since we have sort of a clock right now, and I'm pretty sure they would just be able to counterspell our Spreading Seas and then untap and play like Teferi or something. So I'd rather counterspell their Teferi. Like so. And then hopefully we untap and we draw a land so we can play Sphaloon. We draw Silvergill Adept. That'll do. We showed them a Sphaloon. They know we have one of them. They don't know we have 3. I don't know if that's good for us or bad for us. It's definitely bad for us if we never hit a 3rd land, though, so hopefully that'll happen for us sooner rather than later. We do have kind of a decent clock right now, though, and our opponent's not doing that much. Opponent bounces Tideshaper, that's fine. We're going to get in at Teferi to try to kill it. They might have a Solitude here. We draw an island. Go to combat. Oh my god, my mouse is freaking out. I really need to get a new mouse. It is not very good. Alright, hit you. Yes. Let's... I actually think I'd rather Spreading Seas the Hollowed Fountain, and then just play out Tideshaper. Ooh, we drew an Ether Vial. I'd actually rather play Ether Vial. Are we going to be able to get our opponent off of all of their colored mana again? It kind of looks like it, since they're kind of mana screwed right now. They have hella counterspells up. They know about one Sphaloon. I think I just run out a Sphaloon into a counterspell, because they don't see the other ones coming, and it's kind of fine to just use one as a duress here. Our opponent might have an Archmage's Charm. We drew a Force of Negation. That's interesting. Let's go to combat. Hit ya. I still like the playing Sphaloon plan, I think. Although, them keeping mana up definitely signals Archmage's Charm or another counterspell. They've been keeping at least like 2 blue up pretty much the entire game. So they have been representing actual counterspell. I might as well get another hand. I have 3 Sphaloons. These cards have to do something eventually. Mystic Dispute. That's fine. We're going to plan on filing in a Tideshaper, I think. They play another island. That's hilarious. So they could Archmage's Charm to steal a Tide Shaper, which would be really obnoxious, and then block Silvergill Adept. So we're going to try to play around that. Tick up Ether Vial. Draw an island. I'll play an island. Go to combat. Attack with the boys. So there's no way they're going to Wrath next turn, I don't think, since they'd have to have 2 more white sources than they do currently. I think I just pass. Passing while your opponent's holding up counterspells sort of forces them to take a tempo loss where they just didn't do anything with an entire turn. So if you have a decent clock already like we do right now, even if you have something to do usually it's okay to just not worry about it. And plus this way we get to hold up actual Force of Negation instead of having to pitch a card to play it. Opponent fetches and shocks down to 4, so they have to have some kind of removal, otherwise they're just going to die. How much does this take to animate? 6, so that's not happening anytime soon. So opponent actually has to have 2 pieces of interaction because we get to Force of Negation whatever they're going to. Okay, opponent just concedes. Maybe they screwed up by doing that, I don't know. But we were able to beat blue-white control, and we didn't even sideboard optimally against them. So that was pretty sweet. I'll see you in the next one. Alright, round 3 with Merfolk. We won the die roll. Let's see what we get. Really underwhelming hand, 4 lands. Opponent's playing a Gigantha deck. I think we got a mulligan. Alright, this hand has action going on. I like the amount of redraws. Our opponent playing Gigantha means that they probably have... They could still be on, like... Occasionally you still see Affinity with Gigantha. Occasionally you still see Tron with Gigantha, but they're more leaning towards playing like Force of Vigors and Dismembers now, I think. So it's probably a Rakdos deck, if I had to guess. This seems pretty good. We're probably going to get Thoughtseize, so I like that we have a bunch of redraws. Let's keep, and I think I actually put Master of the Pearl Trident on the bottom, since I can't cast it yet, and it doesn't draw me a card. Let's go... I think I want to go Mutavault Go. Possibly Conceal Information. We definitely won't have Counterspell up next turn. Opponent shocks in Steam Fence. Plays DRC. Alright, I'm gonna guess that this is a Death Shadow deck. That's what it looks like to me, at least currently. I don't know how good Gigantha is in Death Shadow. I haven't seen them get it when I'm playing against them at all, at least, I don't think. Waterlogged Grove, not necessarily what I'd like to be playing on turn 2. But I'll draw a card. Spreading Seas, that could be pretty good against them. They usually keep pretty land light hands, and if they're 3 color, it'll be nice to have. I assume that this is Grixis at least, because if they were just Izzet, they should be playing Murktide instead of playing Gigantha. I can't imagine that the trade of those two is worth it. Yeah, there's Watery Grave and it comes in untapped. They probably have some amount of interaction, but I think I'm going to go for Spreading Seas on their Watery Grave anyway, just to try to get them off black mana. Another Silvergill. That's interesting. Opponent trades? Okay. Let's see if they have a counterspell. I'd really like to draw an actual blue source that doesn't cost life each time I do it. Okay, opponent has Spell Pierce, that's fine. We have a lot of Silvergill adepts. And I think they're pretty good in this matchup for the most part, so I'm not that upset about it. But I wish I didn't miss a land drop there. Maybe I should have played that first, since they can't spell Pierce Silvergill. I don't know how much it would have mattered. Kaito, okay. Spicy. I assume they're gonna make a boy. They might loot, I guess, but... Yeah, they make a boy. Makes sense. Kaito phases out, so we can't attack it. We draw Force of Negation, which would have been nice last turn to deal with that, but... Let's play Silvergill. Draw another Sphaloon, my god. This is an incredibly awkward hand now. What's our opponent got? Opponent draws a card with Kaito. Plays a Scalding Tarn. Fetches. So if they have Death Shadows, they can play them now. You go down to 10. What you got, opponent? Death Shadow, yep. Just the one, thank god. Alright, so Silvergill is not going to get in at Kaito now. Let's play another Silvergill. Revealing a Silvergill, I guess. Oh my god. Holy shit. Where did our lands go? And it's funny because I'm like complaining now, but if we had 2 lands and like an Aether Vial and we had drawn this amount of action, I'd be incredibly happy about it. But it is brutal right now. Opponent's attacking with both. What are the chances they let us trade for Death Shadow? I think we gotta try it, right? Since we have a Force of Negation. There's a decent chance they have appropriate removal, though. Dress down. Fuck this Pheloon. One less Death Shadow, looks like it. Sweet. That basically only cost us 1 card since those Silvergills were card positive. Thought seizes. I assume it's Silvergill, since it draws us a bit. Opponent has 3 cards in hand currently. They get to keep drawing cards with Kaito. We can't really deal with the Ninja token, since we don't have appropriate removal, other than, like, I guess, playing a Trickster and blocking it. Opponent plays Croxa, that's fine. I think I just ditch a Sphaloon. As much as I'd like to have a Sphaloon in play, lands have eluded us, so I don't think it's worth keeping 2 just in case we get to play 2 of them. We draw Mutavault, hilarious. So I need to animate the Mutavault that did not interplay this turn. On Moto, which one comes in first? I think the back... God, I don't know. Alright, I'm going to look this up real quick because this has fucked me up too many times. And I'd really like to get Tide Shaper down as well. MTGO Mutavault. MTG Mutavault, which has Summoning Sickness. Please. Alright. Okay, multiple Mutavaults on Moto. The top one is the Summoning Sick Mutavault, is what Twitter says. So I'm gonna be mad at Paul Cheon if he screwed me up on this. Please work. Yes! Alright, hit Kaido? Yeah, I think I want to hit Kaido instead of my opponent here. Cast Tide Shaper, no kicker. Opponent's going to get to play Croxa, and I will be sad about it. But we'll see what happens. I really need to draw a basic island. Opponent plays Inquisition, opponent plays Croxa, gets rid of our Merfolk Trickster. This game has been brutal. What do I sideboard against them? Is Relic worth it? I probably don't bring in counter spells, I don't think. I probably cut Subtleties and bring it... Ooh, I bring in Chalices because they have all these 1-drops. And I don't bring in Relics. So yeah, I probably bring in 4 Chalices, cut 3 Subtleties, and... something else. I usually don't really like playing counterspells against Death Shadow type decks. Oh, now we draw an island. I see how it is. Alright, we take 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're still technically alive. Let's play an island, pass the turn. Our opponent could possibly mess this up for themselves somehow. Opponent attacks for 7. We take 3 from Croxa, bonking us. We go down to 2. If our opponent just like plays a Shockland untapped and then doesn't have any interaction, we can get there. Opponent plays Croxa. I guess we'll see what we draw with the Waterlog Grove. Yeah, alright. I'll stay around for a draw step. I can only hit them for 6 though either way, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, actually, I draw land, I can animate, do 6, that's it. Okay, concede. I'm fine with that. Alright, so we bring in Chalices. I don't think we bring in Relic, even though it's kind of good against them, just because we really want Chalice to be on 1. And I think we cut all the Subtleties, and what? I like Tide Shaper mostly because it can... Messing up their mana base is good, but also they are more than likely playing Ragavan, and I'd like to have early blockers for it. Maybe I cut like 1 Spreading Seas. Because Spreading Seas is pretty decent, but I don't want to cut down on the creature base for Chalices, and I don't want to cut down on Sphaloon because it seems like it could be really good if we can actually play it. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that sideboard plan. Maybe Merfolk Trickster is kind of bad, but it seems like a decent way to get rid of DRC pretty easily. What I don't like about Trickster is how it just buffs their Death Shadows. Let's take the play. Good hand, please. Alright. We're missing a land, but other than that, this hand is fantastic. I mean, we play Otawara, we play Aether Vial, which means we can play around our own Chalices on 1 pretty easy by just vialing Tide Shaper into play. This hand's pretty strong. I'm going to keep it. We really need to draw land pretty much right off the bat. We can maybe miss like one land drop, but I really want to get Chalice on one down as quickly as possible before they get to double Thoughtseize these away. Alright. So let's draw an untap land. Gonna place DRC. Okay. Come on, island off the top. Mishra's Bauble. Okay. There's a world where running out a Chalice on 0 is correct, but I think I would prefer to just have insurance against them Inquisitioning or Thoughtseizing one of them. Because Chalice on 1 is insane against Death Shadow generally. We draw? Okay, never mind, we get some bunch of triggers. File takes up and we draw. Tide Shaper. Lame. Alright, let's play a Tide Shaper. And let's just pass. Sticking to the keeping chalices in hand so I can hopefully get at least one down plan. And I really need to either Spreading Seas or Tide Shaper their land if they don't play their own island anytime soon, so I can buff up Tide Shaper. But there's a pretty decent chance they're gonna fix their own blue mana in a second. Opponent does not go to combat, goes to combat, does not go to combat. Okay. Activate Vial. Yes. Put in another Tide Shaper. Vial. Okay. Up to 2. Beautiful. Draw land. Yes. Alright. Mutavault means we're gonna... So let's see, what kind of interaction could they have? What did we see last game? We saw Spell Pierce. But they have to fetch a blue to do that, so I think we just Chalice now. And see if they want to buff up our Tide Shapers before we attack. I assume there's a counterspell coming, but if there isn't, that's great news. There isn't. Okay. Combat. Do I hit them at all? Yeah, let's attack. If they try to do some shenanigans to block and then buff up DRC, we can take the buff away with Merfolk Trickster. And if not, I'm okay with Tide Shaper trading for a DRC. Okay. So K command can get rid of Chalice of the Void. Opponent fetches. That's fine. But we have another Chalice of the Void. Opponent gets a Steam Vents, does not shock themselves, so that means probably no Death Shadow coming down anytime soon. Which means either they don't have Death Shadows in hand, or they don't have removal for Chalice currently. There's Engineered Explosives. If I ran out the Chalice on 0, I would have been able to play around that, but that's fine. Do they do it now? They did do it now. Okay. Do they have a land? They do have a land. Okay. Opponent fetches. What you getting? Blood Crypt. No Spell Pierce up. Cool. Opponent plays Monkey. Cool. We're going to keep Vial on 2. We draw Force of Negation. That's pretty good. Let's go to combat. Attack. I assume our opponent's going to take it. Ragavan is way better than Tideshaper. We're going to play... Oh my god. We're going to play a Chalice on 1. We have Force of Negation and Merfolk Trickster up. So we can surprise block Monkey, which looks like is exactly what's going to happen here. Because we don't want them to steal Merfolk from us, since they can actually cast them kind of easily. So at the very least, Ragavan isn't going to get a trigger here. And otherwise we're going to block and kill it. Alright, cool. We block and kill the monkey. No monkeys, please. Opponent has a lot of red mana fixed. Opponent plays Expressive Iteration. That will resolve. Watery Grave, okay. They might Kroxa here, which would be kind of annoying, since they can actually Kroxa pretty quickly. We could interrupt it possibly with a Spreading Seas, though, I guess. Since we could cut them off of a black or red mana, and then hopefully they don't get it. Alright, they don't have a Kroxa right now. Vial's going to stay on 2. Master of the Pearl Trident is interesting. Let's animate let's animate Mutavault. Go to combat. Attack with the boys. Our opponent could have interaction here because they usually play some amount of 2-mana removal. Violin Master. But we're threatening our opponent for killing them turn after this one. Alright, opponent has a dress down. That's not really the end of the world. It's not removal, at least. They still get hit for 3, which doesn't actually change the clock, so it's kind of funny that they use the dress down for that. And now we have a Force of Negation up if they have interaction for this turn. Opponent plays Expressive. Okie dokie. Opponent has a Drown on the Lock. If our opponent's smart, they're going to wait until our upkeep to do it, but it doesn't look like they're going to. Targeting Master. No. And that should be it. Alright, cool. Alright, let's do that again, but hopefully not stumble on mana. Chalice was incredibly good there. I'm still pretty happy with how I sideboarded. I'm pretty much just going to race to Chalice on 1, so I still don't think Relic is really worth it, even though it helps us against DRCs and Kroxa. Yeah, let's just run it back. Hopefully we can just race their Kroxas and stuff, because it does take a while for them to actually get it online. And then we have like Merfolk Tricksters and things to help stop combat damage and do tricky-dicky things like that. We're on the draw. 4 lands probably is just not going to be keepable, especially since they have Inquisitions and whatnot, so we probably have at least 1 or 2 less pieces of action than this. And Glasspool Mimic isn't good with Sphaloon, so it's basically 5 lands, so let's mulligan. Alright. We really want to draw land yet again. At least I'm not a stranger to being in that scenario. I think I'm going to keep this. And I think I just get rid of a Merfolk Trickster since I only really need 1 of that effect currently. And hopefully they just don't Inquisition my, or Thoughtseize away my Aether Vial immediately. And or I draw another Aether Vial or lands. It's a pretty aggressive hand, so we might be able to just kind of get there. Opponent shocks. Plays. DRC. Alright, that's an Ether Vial we get to play at least. They have removal for it. Wow, they mulliganed a lot, didn't they? Holy shit. Let me see. Yeah, they mulliganed to 5. Alright, so we're very far ahead on cards. I wasn't even paying attention to that. I was very self-concerned. Alright. They saw our Sphaloon. We'll play Ether Vial. We'll hopefully draw a land. Or 2, because I'd like to get Sphaloon down sooner rather than later, if I have the option. Opponent has 4 cards in hand currently. They have a lot of virtual card advantage, so it doesn't really make that much of a difference that they mulligan kind of aggressively with turn 1 DRC hands. Opponent plays Monkey. It's obnoxious, but we can't do anything about it. And we get hit for 3. They're going to get a treasure. They might get to play something off the top of our deck. They do not. They stole a land. Hopefully we have another land on top. Come on, other land on top, please. That's not a land at all. All right. Let's cast Sideshaper the old-fashioned way. Our opponent stealing our Waterlogged Grove there was actually very obnoxious. I'm relatively happy to have Master of the Pearl Trident, but not being able to play it very quickly is a pain in the ass for sure. Alright, opponent has 3 cards. One of them is a Monkey. We have a Tideshaper. So unless they get Delirium, they can't attack with DRC. They have effectively 3 card types, though. We might be able to surprise block with Tideshaper from our hand if they killed this one. But if they get an instant in their graveyard, it's not worth blocking because they can just buff up Tideshaper by fetching. Or buff up DRC by fetching, rather. But we're probably just filing in this Tideshaper no matter what, because we need whatever tempo help we can get from missing land drops here. Our opponent doesn't really want to EE on 1 generally. But it's probably worth it in this specific board state for them. Opponent fetches and shocks down to 13. Casts a lightning bolt. Okay, so DRC is online. If they dash Ragavan, I'm gonna surprise block with Tideshaper. And if they don't dash Ragavan, I'm still gonna put Tideshaper into play. Opponent ditches an Inquisition from their top deck. They have 1 card in hand. Hopefully that's not instant speed removal. But we'll see. Opponent goes to hit us for 5. Yes. Okay. Block. Alright, it was not instant speed removal, it looks like. Alright, that gives me hope. Because now Vial's going to go up to 2. Opponent has 1 card in hand currently. They didn't want Inquisition for some reason, even though we have a pretty full hand. And now Merfolk Trickster should probably be able to deal with DRC pretty easily. Since they're forced to attack, and then I can make it a 1/1. Silvergill is whatever. Opponent has 1 card. They didn't have removal last turn. They probably still don't have removal now, since they surveilled to the graveyard. They might have a Death Shadow stuck in their hand. I could see that being the case. Opponent plays. Explosives on 1. If you pop that, that gets rid of your Dragon Rage Channeler, so it's not really the end of the world for me. If they do pop it, I probably... Okay. Opponent attacks. Did you find removal? That's what we're going to see. We're getting hit for less at least, no matter what. Looks like they found removal. Nope, they're just gonna 2-for-1 themselves. If we draw a land, we're in a great spot. If not, this is gonna be a little rough. We drew a land. Okay. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Let's reveal you, draw a card. If I draw a blue source... Alright, well, now we know that they don't have Death Shadow right now, so let's attack for 2. I was gonna say I wasn't gonna attack if we didn't draw a blue source, because I'd rather wait until we can get unblockable. But now I think it's worth being greedy. Opponent puts Gigantha into their hand. This might actually be the game that I see them play Gigantha. Who knows? Right. We draw an island. We play Sphaloon. Because drawing extra cards seems good, and Ward seems good. And Sphaloon's kind of hard for them to kill usually. Opponent plays Blood Crypt, tapped. Excellent. Opponent plays Unholy Heat, killing our Sphaloon. Never mind what I said about it being hard for them to kill. We're at 9 currently. We know their card in hand. Let's hit them for 3. If we can get this Glasspool Mimic down, copying Master the Pearl Trident, that should be GG's. There's a decent chance we can kill them regardless of Glasspool Mimic, but double Lord effects / double unblockable effects seems very important. Okay, terminate. Yup. Opponent still has 1 card in hand. We're going to hit them for 4 down to 2, and I think that should do it now, because they'd have to get a 2-for-1 to be able to actually stop us from killing them. And I think I just play Glasspool Shore this turn. Alright, what you got, opponent? Alright, cool. Got there against Death Shadow, which seems like it can be a pretty hard matchup most of the time, but we got pretty lucky in Game 3 for them mulliganing, and Game 2 Chalice just dominated it for the most part, even though we had a pretty rough start. So I'm pretty happy with that. See you in the next one. Alright, round 4 with Merfolk. We won the die roll. And we don't have any lands. Like we have an MDFC, but that's not enough. Let's mulligan. Alright. This hand looks a lot more keepable. I think I just ditched one of the subtleties, since I don't really need 2 of that effect that I know of. Let's just go Island Pass. Plan on playing Silvergill next turn, maybe play Tideshaper depending. Ketria Triumph, okay. Ether Vial. Huh. Well, I'm definitely playing Mutavault. I think I'm leaning towards playing Ether Vial now. As much as I would like to either draw a card or disrupt their mana on turn 1. Our opponent's not playing a companion. They have Temur colors. Makes me think they're probably playing Rhino's Cascade. This hand is pretty not great against Rhino's Cascade, so we'll see. Let's tick up Vial. Opponent has to stop in our upkeep. We draw an island. Let's play Silvergill Adept, revealing Merfolk Trickster, so I don't have to let them know about Tideshaper yet. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is a Crashing Footfalls deck. If it were Elementals, they would have had Kahira. And I mean, I guess it could be some other things, but the like play pattern of not playing a 1 or 2 drop and having only Temur color lands and stopping at our upkeep, probably to think about playing Fire and Ice on either Aether Vial or one of our lands. Seems pretty Crash Cady. Opponent's thinking about if they want Silvergill to go. I mean, I assume it resolves. I don't see why they would care that much about this. They might just have a stop set for some reason. Alright. Oh my god. Alright. We draw Sphaloon, which is interesting. We'll pass the turn. Probably plan on Tide Shapering off of Aether Vial. There's a decent chance they could have Furies in their main deck. So we need to play around that, at least to some extent. Yeah, it's Crashcade. Okay. Opponent plays dead, kills our Silvergill Adept, that's fine. It was a 2-for-1 still. Opponent fetches. So next turn I can cast Sphaloon and I can take Aether Vial up to 2 to put Merfolk Trickster into play. Looks like they have a, yeah. That's fine, that happens. Can't stop that. We can see if we can play through it, which is going to be a bit rough, because this deck is not nearly as good at playing through Rhinos as Affinity is. Not having larger boys than Rhinos most of the time is, damn, I didn't put Tide Shaper into play. Alright. That's annoying. I would have had an indestructible Sphaloon possibly this turn. I'm going to pretend like I did that to keep subtlety up. That was totally on purpose. Opponent attacks. Okay. I should have put Trickster into play. I'm playing horribly this game. Oh my god. More than a bit distracted, I guess. Yeah, I think I just wait now. Keep Vial on 2. We draw Silvergill Adept. Reveal Trickster since they already knew about it. See if we get to draw a card here. Excellent. Let's play Aether Vial. I want to keep Subtlety up because I think they could have Fury pretty easily. Actually, let me read what Ward does. Spell or ability. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I need to leave Sphaloon back and plan on blocking with it because it's going to have Indestructible if I get another creature into play. Opponent plays Petty Theft. That's annoying. Alright. So we at least get to tick Vial up to 3. Alright. Let's put a Trickster into play, stop one of these attacks. Opponent has 3 cards in hand and they have a Brazen Borrower. They attack for a bunch. I'll block the Shardless Agent. Shardless Agent. Alright. I'm pretty sure that just does it because now they have enough trample power that we just can't get out of it. We're going to take up both the vials, and we're going to see what we draw, and then probably just concede. Master of the Pearl Trident. We tap 2, play Master, can play Tide Shaper, can play Feloon. Block, block, still take 8. Alright. We got kind of close, I guess, by drawing that Master there, but it just wasn't enough at that point in the game. Maybe if I'd played a bit tighter, it would have gone a bit differently, but the second Cascade pretty much would have wrapped it up either way. So let's see, we want counterspells, and we want chalices. Subtlety's good, but it's not fantastic because it pretty much only stops Evoke Fury, so I think I go down to 1 Subtlety. I like the Tricksters. I don't like Silvergill Adepts because they are X1s, so they get killed by Fire and Ice and Fury very easily. I think I cut down on Spreading Seas too. And then we need to cut one more card. Maybe just one more Fury, since these all already deal with countering things. Yeah, let's try it like that. I think if we just play a decent tempo game against them, we should be fine. Let's see what we have, though. We will take the play. Double Chalice. And a Force. This hand has a lot of interaction. It has double blue mana, even if it's a bit slow otherwise. Let's keep it. I'm going to leave the chalices in hand for now until it's time that they would start cascading, because I want to give them as little information as possible if I can help it. Although it's possible they have Gemstone Cavern, but we would know about that because it comes into play before our turn, if they do have that. Opponent's mulliganing. They keep 6. Alright, let's play Glasspool Shore. Pass. Ideally, I'd like to draw another blue card to pitch to Force. Draw Mutavault. Let's play Master. Pass. They don't remove it on our turn. They play Flooded Grove. They play Fire and Ice to kill Master. Okay. We draw Force. We play Mutavault. We play Chalice on 0. Pass the turn. So now we can hardcast Force, which is kind of nice. We need more of a clock. But I guess we can hit them with Mutavaults for a little bit. Opponent misses a land drop and passes. We draw Merfolk Trickster. Let's play a Mutavault. I learned last game that the back one is the one without Summoning Sickness. And it continues to be, so that's great. Go to combat. You have removal. There's a decent chance they have just a way to shock this, but we're kind of flooded and we need a clock, so it's okay. Alright, pass. They petty theft, okay. Opponent shocks in a land. Goes to Cascade. We say no. Getting rid of Merfolk Trickster. So opponent has a 2-2. We're going to get to play Chalice again. Probably not going to attack with Mutavault unless we draw a land here. We draw Merfolk Trickster. Yeah, let's just pass. Opponent goes to combat. Let's take 2. I can flash in Merfolk Trickster. And then keep trying to get in at them, I guess. I can flash in Merfolk Trickster because they don't have enough mana to both blow up Chalice and then also Cascade this turn. So it's pretty safe. And I'd rather just pressure them as quickly as possible. They're at essentially 12 because if they tap Fire Aeolate for mana one more time, that's what they're at. And we can pressure them for 6 twice in a row. If I draw a blue card, I think I'm just going to animate both my Mutavaults and get in with everybody. Alright, we get to untap. We draw an island. Which means I can animate one of my Mutavaults. Go to combat. Attack you. Slows us down by a turn, but we keep up Force of Negation, so it's absolutely worth it. Is this a blow up Chalice or a flash in Borrower? Flash in Borrower, it looks like. That's okay. That is not surprise 8 power. Hits us for 3. Okay. They have a Shardless Agent blocking. Let's just untap. Silvergill Adept. Can't do anything with that right now. Animate Mutavault. Attack with the boys. Block some Mutavault, that's okay. It would probably be a bit better for them to block Trickster, actually, because we don't have to keep pouring mana into it to have it work. Opponent plays Fire on Merfolk Trickster. That's going to resolve. I can still race them decently. I need to get more creatures down. But I think I needed the Force of Negation to stay in hand more. Most likely. Attacks for 3. We go down to 10. We're going to draw a card here with Waterlogged Grove. We draw Sfaloon. That's a good draw. Odawara. Okay. I think I go straight for the Sfaloon instead of playing out Silvergill Adept. They could Mystic Dispute it, which would be annoying. I think maybe I play out Silvergill instead, actually. Yeah, let's reveal Sfaloon, play Silvergill Adept. This way I can pressure with Mutavault this turn too, and get them down to 5, hopefully. Yeah, they have Mystic Dispute, so I'm more than okay with that. Alright, so let's play Odawara. Let's pass. I think I need to keep Force up. I need to draw another blue card so I can play Sfaloon and keep Force up. We are in the danger zone life total wise now, especially since our opponent's playing a red deck. They could also just hard cast Fury now. Opponent hits us down to 7 and passes. Okay. We draw Tide Shaper. Alright, let's go for Svaelun. Another Mystical Dispute. Okay. So opponent hits us for 3, we go down to 4. I don't think we can afford to keep up Force of Negation this turn. I think we have to play the 2/2. Which kind of sucks. But I think that's the only way we can race our opponent from killing us. Because our opponent hits us down to 4, we can hit them for 4 with Mutavault Tide Shaper. Then they hit us down to 1. And we have to be able to kill them that turn, so I think we have to go Tide Shaper here. It leaves us dead to our opponent being able to, like, kill our Chalice of the Void and then Cascade afterward, but opponent taps 4 mana, plays Subtlety. Alright, now we're just going to die to Subtlety. Opponent's at 6. 1, 2. Opponent's hitting us for 6 this turn. Yeah, we can't get out of that. Alright, concede to our opponent. That was a really interesting game. Unfortunately, we did not keep up the win streak, but I'll take it. And on to round 5. Alright, we're 3-1 going into the final round with Merfolk. We're on the draw. You know, my better judgment says I should mulligan this. But if this hand works, it's just so good. So I think I gotta keep it. I'm gonna be greedy. Opponent plays Windswept Heath, passes, we draw a land. Perfect. Alright, now we need to untap with Aether Vial a couple times. Opponent gets a Hollowed Fountain. Makes me think it might get prismatically ended here. But we did at least draw another land, so that's a good start. Opponent's playing Esper Colors. Maybe not. Looks like a March on our Vial, probably. Stoneforge Mystic, okay. So we're playing against a Hammer deck. Alright. Let's see if we can beat the Hammer deck. We draw Subtlety. Play Mutavault. We're playing either Tide Shaper or Spreading Seas here. I guess I'd rather draw a card and have another chance at getting a force. So let's Spreading Seas on Hollowed Fountain. Get a Glasspool Mimic. Alright. That sets us up for copying Master or playing another land, so that's decent. Opponent has a Pure Steel Paladin. Opponent has a Colossus Hammer that we already knew about. Okay. Opponent has an Ornithopter, apparently. Alright, so we're going to need to use Merfolk Trickster to turn off Pure Steel Paladin to stop us from getting hit for a bit. Do I vial in Tide Shaper here? I should have vialed in Tide Shaper to kill Stoneforge. I guess I still just go for it because I'm gonna play a 2-drop anyway. Yeah, I definitely should have just killed Stoneforge Mystic. That was a misplay. Tick up Vial. We draw Master of the Pearl Trident again. Let's play Glasspool Shore. Play Spreading Seas on Seachrome Coast. Try to get you off double white. We draw land. Pass. Opponent plays Arid Mesa. Okay. Taps double white, plays Pure Steel Paladin. That's obnoxious. So that means if they have another artifact, they're going to be able to hit us no matter what, or at least equip things no matter what. So I might as well just use Merfolk Trickster to fog for a turn instead. I'm going to draw some cards with Colossus Hammer. Yep. Very annoying. That's funny, it has double equip 0 effects from the 2 Pure Steels. Alright. Yeah, game 1's pretty rough against Hammertime, I gotta say. Let's play a Trickster. Tap you. Do I block? I don't think I block here. Opponent equips. Is there a world where I can tempo my opponent out before they kill me, I wonder? They have islands, so I do have unblockable at least. I draw Spreading Seas, which doesn't really do anything for me. Play Master of the Pearl Trident. So I have to block 2 creatures. I think there's a world where I might be able to do this. Let's attack. Violin, Master of the Pearl Trident. They have to not have Shadow Spear is the main thing, and they also have to not have another Colossus Hammer. Opponent's at 9. Opponent draws a card with Silent Clearing. I'll play Stoneforge, and Stoneforge can get Shadow Spear. Yeah, them gaining life, I think, just does it for me. Because I don't have proper removal for either artifacts or creatures. I could tap things down and make the Pure Steel Paladins lose abilities, which was going to be my plan, but they had 2 Pure Steel, so it didn't matter. So I'm pretty screwed. I guess I'll see if I draw something that I'm not anticipating, maybe. Oh my god, I'm so bad at this game. I could have subtletied this Stoneforge Mystic. Oh my god, that's painful. Yeah, I've been misplaying a lot this game, holy shit. I could have killed this Stoneforge Mystic with Tide Shaper for free, and then I could have subtletied that one to stop Shadow Spear from coming down this turn. Which means they would have attacked. I have to block both of them. So I would have blocked with a Mutavault and with a Master. Yeah, that's painful. Yeah, opponent's gonna kill us with a super trampoly boy. This would have been a great turn to have Trickster. Alright, let's concede. Alright, I need to stop misplaying so much. Merfolk can definitely get there if you play tight enough. That's the is where the issues come in, though. Let's bring in Chalices, because they're very good on 1. Let's bring in our Artifact Hate. Cut Subtleties, because I apparently don't know how to play them correctly. Cut some amount of Faelun. Some amount of Silvergill Adept, I think. I like the Spreading Seas and Tide Shapers for the most part, because they're gonna have Urza Sagas in their deck. Is that good? Yeah, I think that's fine. So Skydiver can help us to steal / actually remove Colossus Hammers if they resolve. Hurkyl's Recalls can help us bounce their artifacts and maybe get a tempo swing. And Chalices, especially on 1 and 0, turn off a lot of their cards and not a lot of our cards. Alright, we have a Chalice. We have some interaction. I think it's worth keeping. They have ways to get out of Chalice because they're going to have, like, Marches and Prismatic Endings, most likely. Opponent mulligans to 6. Thieving Skydiver, I think, is the card that we most want against Hammer, since it can steal their +10/+10 and just really swing the game out of our opponent's control. Opponent plays Windswept Heath, fetches, gets a Plains, plays a Giver of Runes. Okay. We draw Cavernous Souls. We're not going to play that quite yet. Let's play Mutavault and Chalice on 1. Hopefully they don't have removal for it immediately. Opponent plays Urza's Saga. Hopefully we can get a Spreading Seas or something. Opponent has a Hushbringer. That doesn't do that much. It stops Merfolk Trickster, which is kind of annoying. We don't have a Spreading Seas, unfortunately. Let's play Cavern on Merfolk. Plays Faelun. Hopefully draw some extra cards with it. Opponent has 4 cards in hand. They hit us for 1 and gain 1 up to 20. They are not going to be able to make tokens, so that's good. Let's play our land for turn. Play the Master. I think I just want to attack as much as possible. If I draw like a Spreading Seas, it's possible that I would have wanted to play that instead, but I think I'd rather have the damage that I know I'm getting. And just try to tempo them out before they can get out from under Chalice. Draw a card with Faelun. We draw a Force, that's pretty nice. Alright, opponent essentially fogs by blocking with Ornithopter. Opponent has to sacrifice their land and gets to tutor for an artifact, probably Colossus Hammer, I assume. It might be a Springleaf Drum, though, since they're stuck on lands currently. They get Colossus Hammer, they play another land. They play Pure Steel Paladin. My god, that's annoying. They can't play a 1-drop, so they don't have Metalcraft. So that's good news, at least. Wish we had a way to get rid of Hushbringer. Let's animate Mutavault. Let's go to combat. Attack, attack. Draw a card. It's Faelun. Not necessarily what we wanted there. Opponent blocks. Yep. Takes 3. We can untap Sphaloon and animate Mutavault again. Opponent plays Pure Steel Paladin. We don't have anything to do to that. Our Merfolk Trickster can't turn them off and can't fog damage. We don't have any flying, so there's no point in doing anything to that. Do I just play Trickster? I think I just play out Trickster. Since it's a 3/3 that can have Island Walk, which will matter if my opponent actually finds an island or if I find a way to give them an island. So I think that's probably worth it. Lord of Atlantis. Ooh. Alright. Island. Lord of Atlantis. Animate Mutavault. Attack for a bunch. So they can give protection from blue to a thing. I'm going to attack, attack, attack. Do I attack with Master of the Pearl Trident? Is it worth it? It's probably worth it, right? Yeah, I think I do. So if they block with and don't protect their Ornithopter, they get further away from Metalcraft, which is nice. I'm okay with just killing one of their Pure Steel Paladins. That's fine too. And our opponent is very close to dead now, especially considering that we have a Force up and can untap Sphaloon and block with it. Damn, I didn't know that worked that way. That's a bit unfortunate. All right, our opponent's at 3. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to get in and kill them. Opponent plays. Is it another Pure Steel Paladin? It's a Stoneforge Mystic. Okay. No tutor with the Stoneforge. That's kind of odd. Opponent's going to gain a life with Hushbringer. Yep. Yep. All right, come on, Spreading Seas. That would be so clean. Spreading Seas. Master of the Pearl Trident. I mean, it's basically the same thing at this point, right? Play a Mutavault. Animate the old one. Play the Master. Go to combat. So I think I'm going to attack with the Lord again, because I don't really care if my opponent kills our Lord of Atlantis, because they have to block everything. Everything other than the Lord of Atlantis, at least, so. Alright, opponent concedes. Sweet. Thank God. That was a bit more grueling than it ought to have been, I think. Alright, so what do we want to change, if anything? I feel like Counterspell could be good against them because we want to counter some of their creatures. But at the same time, I'm not completely sold on it. We saw Urza Saga, and we didn't even have a Spreading Seas effect for it, so I definitely want to have as many of those as I can. Chalice was really good. Force is just really good against them in general. Merfolk Trickster is good enough that they brought in a thing that essentially just... Is this an ETB too? Hold on. Yeah, it's a when it enters the battlefield. Okay, so it turns that off too, which is worth knowing. And I think this is too. Yeah. Okay, so Hushbringer actually shits on Tideshapers, Thieving Skydivers, and Merfolk Tricksters. So that is kind of annoying. Yeah, I think we'll keep it the same. Hurkyl's Recall isn't great against every possible board they could have. Like if they have untapped, if they're swinging for lethal with a hammered up creature. This hand seems pretty good. Let's keep. Yeah, we have Chalice, we have Disruption for their lands, we have a Master of the Pearl Trident. Seems pretty good. The only thing we're missing is like a force to protect our stuff. Sigarda's Aid. Okay, well, we found a force. Yeah, let's play this as a land. I'm not dead this turn since they don't have a creature. Opponent plays Urza's Saga, plays Springleaf Drum. Plays Sigarda's Aid. Alright, they still don't have a creature, which means I'm gonna cast Tideshaper with Kicker before I play Chalice on one. Get rid of your Saga. Pass the turn. Opponent plays Inkmoth Nexus, plays Stoneforge Mystic. I mean, I assume it's a Colossus Hammer. Reality Chip. Right? What does Reality Chip mean for us? Let's play Mutavault. I think I don't really know, actually. Stoneforge Mystic gets around Chalice on one pretty cleanly, so that's kind of obnoxious. Reality Chip means that they can tap for a white with Springleaf Drum and then use Stoneforge Mystic, so I think I need to Spreading Seas on Inkmoth sooner rather than later. Or I just lose the opportunity to. We might be a bit behind on this Chalice plan. I'm not going to attack because they can block and then put a Colossus Hammer on their Stoneforge Mystic. Plays Reality Chip, puts it on Stoneforge. They can actually equip it to itself, I think, which is a weird thing that Sigarda's Aid can do with Reality Chip. Opponent gets a white mana out of it. Maybe they just don't have a hammer somehow. Opponent plays Stoneforge. Now they're going to have a hammer. Yeah, the Stoneforge getting around Chalice is going to be really fucking obnoxious this game. And opponent has another Inkmoth too. So we need a Spreading Seas. I mean, I guess Otawara can bounce. Yeah, actually, we can bounce their Inkmoth Nexus that they're trying to kill us with. So that's good news. And we can get in with Tideshaper this turn because they won't be able to... Well, there's a Tideshaper to lock down Inkmoth, actually. Huh. I'd rather them try to put the hammer on the Inkmoth Nexus, I think. If I play Tideshaper, I can lock down Inkmoth, and then I can play Master of the Pearl Trident. That opens me up pretty hard to Disruption, though, because we don't have Force up. Opponent can cast things with Reality Chip, which is really annoying. I could play Tideshaper on Inkmoth Nexus, and then play Chalice on one. Maybe that's the plan? Let's go to combat. Attack. Opponent takes it. Makes sense. Yeah, I think this is what I have to do here. Because this way I get to leave up Force too, just in case. Stoneforge getting around counter spells is really freaking annoying. Alright, play Chalice on 1. That should slow down their roll with Reality Chip and things that they're not Stoneforging in, at least. Opponent plays an Urza Saga, which is unbelievably annoying after we played our Tide Shaper. But hopefully we can close the game out before it gets us. Opponent can Colossus Hammer on their Stoneforge. Yup. We draw an island. So Odawara costs 4. So we can't quite do that. How much can I hit my opponent for? If I want to go all out with it. I can play Master. I can get in for 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. But then I have to chump block with Master of the Pearl Trident, and I don't have lethal on board anymore. Unless I draw another Lord. I can attack for 4. And then my opponent's at 13. I can animate Mutavault to block, and then I can Odawara away the hammer. Maybe? I think that seems okay. Yeah, I'm really just 1 mana short of being able to play Master of the Pearl Trident and hold up Odawara, so I think that might be what I do next turn, if things don't work out how I want them to this turn. I wish I had, like, Curse Totem in my sideboard to stop this from happening to me. Maybe I do need to bring in counterspells to stop Stoneforge Mystic in this matchup. Subtlety still doesn't seem quite worth it, but counterspell hitting Stoneforge and hitting Pure Steel Paladin when Force of Negation can't seems very important. Saga goes up. Opponent. Plays March of Otherworldly Light. I think I need to force this. And I think I need to do it by pitching Master of the Pearl Trident, as goofy as that sounds. So now we need to draw another Lord if we want to keep our clock up. The issue is that Saga is going to be able to fetch anything anyway next turn. Oh, God. I'm pretty sure that protecting Chalice was correct there, though, because they wouldn't have gone... I mean, they have cards stuck in their hand, they have cards stuck on the top of their deck. They probably wouldn't have gone for the removal on it had there not been a good reason to. I'm really hoping that my opponent activates Stoneforge Mystic before they go to combat with the other one, though. Nope, they're doing it in the right order. Alright, so we have to... what? Otawara to just bounce the Stoneforge. I guess I should block first, right? So I animate Mutavault. So just in case they have like Blacksmith skill, I don't die. Go to blocks. Block with Mutavault. Bounce Stoneforge because since they have this Stoneforge activation up, they can just... well, maybe they won't have it up. We'll see. Otherwise, they can just put Colossus Hammer back into play, and it's like I didn't do anything. I'm pretty sure I just have too few things in play and cards in hand, things going on in general to actually get back in this one, though, unfortunately. I wish I had a good, like, Thieving Skydiver game. That'd be nice. Top deck Thieving Skydiver could still be pretty good this game, actually. Yeah, if I bounce the Stoneforge and then, hold on. Almost hit the wrong thing with it. Otawara, U. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this forces them to have to recast the Stoneforge Mystic to get it back into play, and also this Colossus Hammer isn't equipped to anything anymore. Which is the reason I did it like that. Where if I had bounced Colossus Hammer, if they didn't have the Stoneforge activation up, I would have done that. But since they do, they can just cheat it into play, and it's like I didn't affect the board at all. Put play Stoneforge, searches for, I assume, like Cauldra maybe another Colossus Hammer, we'll see. Cauldra, yep. They can put that into play right now if they want to. We draw Menemo, which isn't going to be enough. So our opponent puts a Cauldra into play, equips it. So they get Trample, and then they also get to put a Colossus Hammer onto an Urza Saga. So I assume we're dead here, but I'm going to just actually let them do the deed. Because after a game like this, they might as well have the satisfaction, you know. Yeah, we definitely flooded out pretty hard. I can't complain that much, though. We had a decent amount of interaction that we actually do want against them, and they just were able to fight through it because I wasn't planning around the Stoneforge Mystic situation. Plays March. All right. Let me see what you got. Let me see what ridiculousness befalls me here. Colossus Hammer number 1 goes on Cauldra. Yep. Gotta place a land. I have to block with literally everything to stay alive. Block. That frees up one of the Inkmoth Nexuses, which can kill me in a whole different direction, but I'm already dead next turn. And opponent gets it. Alright, GG's to our opponent. That was a lot of fun. Let's see. We have a chest to open up. So yeah, unfortunately we didn't finish with the 4-1 like I was wanting to. That was a pretty fun last match, so I'm not going to complain. Let's see. What do we get? We got a Serpent of something or other. Serpent of the Yawning Depths. Seems like a thoroughly casual commander card. And some play points. Alright, that was a lot of fun playing Merfolk, and I'll see you in the next one.
Hey everyone, Shoe Nice again. Well, basically, go subscribe to Tezzey's YouTube channel. And for those who made it to the end of the video, thank you.